My name is Kainton, the Tech Pro, and today I'm going to teach you how to write a REST web service or REST API in PHP step by step with no steps skipped. So let's get started. You'll need a Windows 10 system, IIS, MySQL Server, PHP, Notepad++, or any other editor. Don't worry about these things. We are going to do these things along the line. We are going to set up these things as we go, and everything is going to be free. Now, the first thing you want to do, go to your desktop and create a local folder. So this local folder is going to be our local site, and we are going to create another folder in a drive I'm going to tell you later on. So I'm going to create a local folder called, okay, so this folder is actually creating on the other system. So let me just move it across. So let me move it to this place. So this folder is where we are going to put our local files, okay? So do it at this point so that we can take it step by step. I'd like to remind you to subscribe to my channel, so hit the subscribe button if you would like to get more updates about my lessons. I've actually made a lesson on how to build REST API in Java using Spring Boot, how to build REST API in .NET using Visual Studio. Now it's going to be PHP, and this is going to be really fun. Our REST web service is going to fetch data from MySQL database and display it as JSON on a web page. So there are 7 steps, actually 6 steps we are going to follow at this point. And also, if this video has been informative for you, like it and don't forget to subscribe and activate notification. Alright, so if you are using Windows 10, the first thing we want to make sure is that IIS is installed. How do you check if IIS is installed? Simply go to look for programs and features. That is where you should go. Programs and features, not apps and features, but programs and features. I think programs and features, this should be, or apps and features. Let's see, it should be apps and features. Yeah, from apps and features, get to programs and features. So let me just drag this to position. So this is the window. So what you are going to do, click on programs and feature here. You can see programs and features. So click on it. And from programs and features, you'll be able to see Windows programs and features you may be able to install. So click on programs and features. So it displays these programs and features box. Now from here, you need to click on turn Windows features on or off. That's what you should click. If you click on it, it's going to bring up another wizard, which is this one. And here at this point is where you are going to check if IIS is installed. So look for Internet Information Services. You can see, click on FTP server and also go down to World Wide Web Services. Click on this and select these ones, okay? And then click on Common HTTP, select all of them. In fact, just select all of them. And then Web Management Tool, select IIS Management Console. This is the most important, IIS Management Console. And after that, click on OK. All right. Once you do this, then IIS is installed in your system. If all those things are checked, IIS is also installed. Another way to check if IIS is installed is to go to your drive C and look for a folder called inetpub. The folder called inetpub is this one. So if you see this folder, know that IIS is installed on your system. If you don't see this folder right here, know that it's not installed. Alright, so the next step is make sure IIS is installed, okay? Test the IIS installation. To test whether IIS is installed correctly, simply visit HTTP localhost. So I'm going to open my browser at this point. So let me open a new browser window, and I'll simply go to localhost, HTTP, I'm going to localhost. So just localhost, uppercase or lowercase, it doesn't matter. So once you see this page, you know that Internet Information Services is installed in your system correctly. Now we are done with that. Let's move to the next step. Install and test PHP. Now there are different ways to install PHP. You can download it and install, but the easiest way I would like to mention is using the web platform installer. So on my page, this page I'm reading from is my website page. It's in the description box. You can find the link to this page. Just click on the web platform installer. It takes you to the page. It takes you to the page, and just click on install this extension. When you click on install this extension, it downloads. Just go ahead to install it, right? So actually I've installed it, so you can see it comes up with this, but I've already installed it. I'm not going to install it again, but for you, go ahead to make sure it installs. So after you've installed it, I'm going to just close it. Then try and open it. So just open it. It's installed, so it must be in your programs. So look for it. Web platform installer is installed. So I'm going to just open it. With this web platform installer, I'll be able to install additional things on my system, right? So yeah, so this is how it comes up. It takes a few seconds, then it's going to give us optional components or applications we can add in addition to Windows. So you are going to go to products. It tells Spotlight, products and application. Go to products and choose framework. In framework, you can now see PHP. So go down to the latest version, possibly PHP 7.3.7, as you can see right here, and just click on add. When you click on add, it installs it, and then you can see it's installed. This is the easiest way to install PHP. After this installation, you don't need any more configuration. But if you download PHP, for instance, if you download PHP from this link, let's open the link, from this link, then it means you need to do some configuration before it works. Alright, so at this point, the next thing we want to do, we've installed PHP. Let's test PHP. To test PHP, simply create a new Notepad file. I'm going to create. Okay. Let me create a new Notepad file. Okay. I'm going to copy this and paste in it. The content of the Notepad you create is going to be this. So the last, it should be semicolon and not colon. Save it in. So I'm going to tell you where to save it. For now, let me just save it on the desktop. Let me save it on my desktop, and I'm going to call it tests.php. Okay, go down to save as file type and select all files and just save. So I save it as tests.php in my desktop. So if I check my desktop at this point, you can see I have it on my desktop as tests.php. The next step is that I'm going to copy it at this point. Copy it into C inetpub www root. www root is like a hosting, a remote location, a server location, so that what you put in there is served as web pages to the browser. So I'm going to place this file in a folder in my drive C, inetpub www root. I'm just going to paste it there, paste. So I'm going to replace because I already did it before now. So I'm going to continue. All right. So after pasting it there, the next thing you do is to go to your browser and check localhost/test.php. So let's just do it at once. So localhost, we're already in localhost. I'm going to just say /test.php. And you can see that if it gives us the PHP page, then we know that the PHP was installed correctly. So this page is what we expect. It tells us the configuration, the call, the other things that is necessary, but for now we don't have to worry about this. Now we've set up IIS, we've set up PHP. The next thing we want to do is to create MySQL database. Now you need to install MySQL Community Edition. It's free. If you already have MySQL installed, that is fine. If not, just download it and install it. If you install MySQL, then it will give you an application called MySQL Workbench. MySQL Workbench is a GUI for managing MySQL database. So I'm going to open MySQL Workbench at this point. So I'm just going to come here and just scroll down to MySQL, look for MySQL. You can see MySQL, and I simply look for MySQL Workbench. You can see here. And if I open it at this point, one thing I want to take note of is the port where MySQL is running. Because when you install a database on your system, it should be running in a particular port. Alright, so it takes a while to start up. Let's give a second. Okay, so MySQL Workbench just started, so I don't know, my CPU is just getting up to 100%. Alright, so let's see. Okay, so MySQL Workbench started, so I'm going to just click on the local instance at this point. And I'm going to log in using my password roots. And I'm going to say OK. So in MySQL, databases are called schema or schemas, however it is. So to create a new database, just go to schema. Meanwhile, we are following the instructions or the procedure as outlined here. So create a database and create a table called TBL users. So let me just create a new database by right-clicking on here and say create schema. I'm going to call this database DemoDB. DemoDB. Okay. So I'm going to just click on apply. DemoDB, that's the name. Apply. And finish. I've created a new database by creating a new schema. It's called DemoDB. Alright, so you can see DemoDB right here. So I'm going to just expand it and go to tables and click on create table. I'm going to call this table, maybe I'm just going to restore this so I can be seeing the procedure to follow. So I'm going to call this table TBL users, right? So once you, wait, let me just shift this away. All right, so let's call the table TBL users, and let's give ID first name, last name, and location. So create a new column here. ID is going to be integer, and the next one is first name is going to be virtual, and last name and location. So we have four fields that we've created there. So the ID is going to be auto increment, that is fine, and apply. So apply and finish. So after creating this table, the next thing we want to do is to insert some few data into this table. So insert some data into this MySQL table. What you are going to do is to go to the table, expand it. You can see the table we created here, TBL users. Just right click and say select rows. When you say select rows, it will give you option to insert new rows. I don't know how to make the font in MySQL larger, in Workbench larger. If you know how to increase the font of the text, please let me know in the description box. So let's add a few names. So I'm going to say Timeson. I'm in Budapest. Budapest. Okay. So the next person I'm going to add is a colleague of mine, Emeka Nwanebu, and he's in Nigeria PH. And the last person I'm going to add, my kid sister in Nigeria as well, Saffron. Saffron. So let's get it correctly. Lawrence is in Lagos, Nigeria. Okay. Just one person. I want to add one more person just to make it Komla Agudze. Currently in DC, Washington DC. All right. So I'm going to say apply. And you say apply is going to create the insert statement, as you can see. and insert all these values into the tables, and I'm going to just click on apply. Everything worked fine. Okay. All right, so we've created our table, we inserted records. Now there is some kind of query you need to run to allow connection into MySQL database using the root password from an external application. So is this little code snippet? I'm just going to run it against my database. So I'm going to simply come to DemoDB. I'm going to simply go to, I just come here, just click on this place and just paste what you want to run and click on execute, this button here. And you can see the result here, it executed perfectly okay. So we are done with MySQL. Now we want to now write the REST API at this point. We are going to write it. Normally, if you are building an application, you are building it in a local environment, after which you publish it to a server. And that is what sometimes we have the DevOps. Developers are working in the development environment. After passing through several steps like testing, staging, quality control, and stuff like that, it gets to production after passing through this pipeline. But now we want to just move from production to development. So we have two environments. So let's create the first environment. The first environment is simply a local folder on my desktop. So let's use this folder I have here. New folder, let's call it local folder. Let's call it dev server, dev server. You can actually call it anything. Call it dev server. Okay. Okay, so inside this dev server I have here, we are going to now write the API in Notepad++. So you need Notepad++. If you don't have it in your system, you can download it from here at this point. If you have it in your system, fine. If you don't, download it and use it. Because if you use Notepad++, it's going to make the writing of the program easy, because it will give you syntax coloration and be able to understand how your program flows. All right, so I'm going to open Notepad++. I'm going to say Notepad++. You can see here. Okay, so it takes a while to open it. Okay, finally. What is all this? Okay, I'm just going to close everything. Close everything. Close. So close everything. So I'm going to write the codes, our REST API. Now I'm not going to type out everything. I'm simply going to be copying and pasting and then explaining to you how it works. Before I start writing, let me just save it. File, save as. We are going to save it in our development environment where we created on the desktop, and we call it dev server. We call it dev server. You can see dev server. And let's call it, what do we call this file? Services.api. Services, because we can write more than one services, one REST web service in one file. So I'm going to just save it. Now, select from here, select, you can find PHP possibly. So you can see PHP at this point, select it, and services.php, and just click on save. So a PHP file starts with this sign, and we have PHP, okay, and the closing is this. So everything you are writing in a PHP file goes in between. Alright, so the first thing we want to do at this point is to define connection to the database. I'm going to just copy it and paste. Control V to paste. So we have localhost and we have 3301. I mentioned that MySQL runs at a particular port. For instance, if I go back home at this point, you can see that we have the port 3301. All right. So the next thing is to create a connection, and that is what I'm going to do now. So let's see. So this is a connection object that says $con is equal to MySQL I specify the URL, which is the database URL, the username, password, and the database. Now, the name of the database we created, I can't remember, so let's check. The name of the database we created is what? DemoDB. So let's correct it. The name of the database is DemoDB, DemoDB, and the password is roots, because that is the password I use, roots. Okay. So okay, so fine, and we call the table TBL users, I think so. So the next thing is to check if the connection was successful. If it's successful, if it's not successful, then you can exit. So I'm going to just come here and paste it. So it says if not successful, then exit and say unable to connect and specify the error. Okay. All right. So, but if it's successful, then we can continue by writing the SQL query and retrieving the results. So this is the code to write. What happened? No. So here we now write the SQL query. Select star from demodb dot tbl users, tbl users. Okay. So, and then we store the results in results is equal to MySQL query. You give the connection and the SQL query you want to run. So what we want to do is to get all these rows as they are coming. We use a loop to loop through the rows coming and be putting them into an array. So that means we need to create an empty array. We call this array rows. So rows is equal to array, an empty array. All right. So now I'm going to just copy this block of code. After I copy and paste it, I'm going to explain it to you as well. So if MySQL I num rows, that's the function that returns the number of rows in the result, if it's greater than 0, then while record is equal to MySQL fetch assert result, while there is result is greater than 0, look through the array, look through the records or the record set, and for each record, push the record onto the array called rows that we created. All right. After then, we are now going to print the rows, because the rows is the array containing all the records at this point. After then, we print it. But if there is no results, then we are going to echo no records found. So let's save this into the local development folder or the local development environment. This is actually how to build an application. I'm just trying to say in a very simple way. So okay, so this is clear. All right, so we now have the API written. Okay, so we want to create a remote server now so that we can publish our application to the remote server. Although we've set up IIS, we now want to also create a remote application. That is simply a folder in the remote server. So before we deploy our API, we need to create a web application in IIS. So I'm going to go to IIS. So Internet Information Services. So it opens like this. All right. So first, create a folder inside www root. So let's see. So the first thing, let's go to the remote location. So here we are going to create a folder in here. Okay. So let's see. So these are remote location. Instead of creating a folder, let's simply copy the local folder into the remote folder. So I'm going to simply create this dev server. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it here. So let's just call this demo web. So it's exactly the same folder we are working with. So this demo web, I'm just going to copy it and paste it inside www root. So this serves as our remote location. Yes, admin, yes. So we have demo web now containing our API services of PHP. Perfect. Now, in IIS, we need to create an application that points to that remote folder, that recognizes that remote folder, so that we'll be able to browse this application on the web. So the steps are also given here. So what you are going to do at this point, just drop down and go to Sites and choose default website. I'm going to just say new application, or you say add application. I just call it demo web. It doesn't mean. And in physical paths, choose the path to the www root that contains the demo web that we just published or we pasted in there. So in www root, this is demo web in the physical path, and test settings, everything is okay. And I'm going to say okay. So now we have our file, our website set up. Okay. Everything is done. We've published our application to the remote folder in IIS. So the next thing we want to do is to test. We've deployed it. That is what we just did. So simply copy it and paste it. Visit localhost demo web and services.php. So let's try to see how it goes. So now I'm trying to test this our web service. So I'm going to say http localhost localhost demo web and services.php. So let's see what we can see. It gives us the return values in as JSON object. I'm going to stop here. I'd like to thank you for viewing. Please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss an update.